Welcome to Digital Vision NAB 2009. We're now going to look at our third segment and grade a commercial, this time shot on film. So this is a project that's already been created for me by my assistant, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it. You'll see it's in linear space, but the material is log. So our deliverable is going to be SMPTE-based material, but we want everything scanned in log space, just as we saw with the red R3D files. On the timeline here, you can see that the offline reference underneath is non-continuous. And the reason for that is that the timeline that I'm working from is in record order, but with handles. And so we're seeing right into the frame handles, in some cases all the way up to the slate. We're parked on the first scene, and so we need to somehow go from log to SMPTE space. There's a couple of ways of doing it. The simplest way would be to simply load a lookup table on there and burn that into the output of the system. And so all we do is turn on the lookup table. This is a calibrated lookup table for film out, but in this case we're using it as a grading filter. And I just come over to the base tools, the balance and density, and I'm just going to brighten it up a little bit. Use printer lights to take out some of that yellowness, and then just give it a bit of a look here, and hit play. So that's one way of doing it. It's a little bit on the bright side, so we'll just bring that down a little bit more. It's a very simple way of working, very, very quick to work from. Personally not my favorite way of working for two reasons. One is you'll see that this particular LUT, because it's calibrated for a film print, is already applying a look to the image. And the second reason is that LUTs convert color space, and since we're using a film color space instead of a video color space, there will be certain colors, particularly in the highlights, that I won't be able to achieve. So as long as the clients are happy with the look, this is a valid way of working, but for today that's not the way that I'm going to work. So I'm going to base that out. The second way that I can convert it from log to linear is to use a log to linear filter. Much the same as we did with the R3D files. So in that case, I can go to my notes library, call up the log to Rec 709 settings that we have here. I can apply that, append it onto the shot. You can see that makes it, again, brings it down very, very dark. And then I just brighten it up in the base layer. So we'll just bring that back out of clip. Take out some of the warmth. And do that. Now I'm grading before the log to linear filter, so that means I can ensure that nothing is clipped coming out of the log to linear filter. But as you noticed, it's still kind of inky. So if I clear the base correction again, and I go over to my color balance tool, because I'm working before the log to linear filter, I should really set the tool to film log, which will recalibrate it. Again, it starts off with the printer lights to brighten it up, and then just use the log calibrated settings, and you'll see I can bring back all of the detail that otherwise would have been clipped by the log to lin. And this is the danger of using any form of color management before grading. We want to be able to grade before a LUT and after a LUT. Take out the warmth there, and you can see we get, again, a pretty good looking image fairly quickly using very minimal tools. It's a little bit on the blue side still. Let's go with a nice warm desert look. Okie doke. So that's the second way of working, but you'll see I've used two layers. I can grade before and after the log to lin conversion. Maybe a little too complicated for some people's taste. So let's go back again to the base setting and look at one of the big advantages of this color space tools that we have in the Film Master layers. Instead of using the lookup table, I can simply grade it from log to a good looking image. So I'm going to set the color tool to film log, and instead of lightening the picture, I'm now going to darken the picture, and then just use the balance tools to bring back the image. Very, very quick. So switching the color space to log just gives me the extra sensitivity that I need to bring this into a regular looking image. So if I've got a good setup, and I'm going to leave it reasonably warm, and if I've got a decent setup, I can simply ripple that through the entire roll. So I'm going to use event recall, and you'll see the timeline update. Now everything's got that same grade on it, and so now everything is basically in linear space. The thing about this is it's non-destructive, so any shot that we find, like this one for example, that's very, very dark, I can go back into my log tools, brighten it up, and then switch over to, say, color curves, which is now in linear space, and take out some blue. Just use a little bit of the printer lights as well. So the preceding shot is quite warm, so we'll just brighten that up and work through the system shot by shot. I might want to come back to this particular shot, so I'm going to give myself a little bookmark. This is a new feature in Digital Vision Filmmaster 2009. Press Control Bookmark on the panels, brings up a window asking me to make the bookmark. I'm going to call this loop, and I'm going to make a little note to myself and say dark. It might need some sort of a dynamic or something on there. I can apply these bookmarks either to the clip itself or to the timeline. And in this case I want to apply it to the clip, because if for some reason I move that clip, then I want the bookmark to move with it. So I go ahead and click create, and if I size that up a little bit, you're going to see there's a little diamond added to the clip on that particular frame. This, by the way, is another very neat way of getting to a particular frame within a clip rather than the first or middle frame that we normally do. All right, let's go back to the beginning, see how we got. So here's the first scene, then we have the flag, and I'm looking up at my event view here in the memories area, and I can see that the next 4 shots are all road shots. So they're all pretty similar. It starts off a little bit dark. So I want to grade them all at the same time. I want them all to have the same correction on them. So another new feature, much requested, is the group mode grading. So I select a shot and then click on add, and you'll see a little green triangle comes there, meaning that we've just added that to the group. There is another way of adding them. If we go to the shots menu, simply clicking on them in shots menu will also group them together. So I can now very, very quickly put them together in one group. Once I've got them in a group, we have a new button on the memory area of the control panel. If I press group, it will show me the 4 shots that we've just grouped together. And as long as I'm in that group mode, as I adjust this first shot, let's go in there and just brighten it up, that grading is being applied, and you can see it rendering there on the timeline, to the following shots as well. So if I now jump to the next scene, you can see that they've all been lightened up. Now this scene, this third one in the sequence, is a little bit lighter than the rest of them. So I'm going to come out of group mode, and now when I darken this scene down, I'm only darkening that one shot. So if I go to the scene before, it's still got the same luminance, and the scene after it's got the same luminance. So I can just fix that one shot, then jump back into group mode and say, whilst I'm in that, they're all a bit warm, let's go with a cooler look. And now you'll see that that cooler look has been applied to the adjacent shots in the sequence. So a very, very flexible way of working. Also useful in the stereoscopic grading tools that we have, but we can now work with these various groups together.